I don't know if you've heard yet, but people are salty. So this is a video about Clip Studio. They announced version 2.0 of their drawing and illustration software. So here is a crazy fast recap. I don't want to dive too deep into the details here. You can buy version 2.0 when it comes out. It is a standalone one-time price. But if you want any features they release after that, 2.1, 2.2, 2.23, that sort of thing, you have to buy a subscription plan. And most of the responses Clip Studio got to this news were, "No, God, please, no!" There were some more measured responses. "You can't do this to me!" My yelling made him bark. I got a dog. He's nuts. I like him. The tweet to the blog post that explained all of these changes got totally ratioed. That post was very detailed, kind of confusing. Clip Studio then came out and tried to clarify it a little bit, but people were mad. There are some things you just don't do. You don't yell fire in a crowded theater. You don't start a land war in Asia. And you don't say the word subscription to a bunch of starving artists. That's just nuts. Stop eating bees. Did I mention I got a dog? Okay, so let's start up this grill. I got some hot takes. Hot take number one, I don't have a problem with software makers charging good money for a good product. I've built my career on these products. I can afford to spend a reasonable amount of money on my tools if it ensures that they are good and going to get better over time. And I would definitely put Clip Studio Paint in that category of tools worth paying for. I used to work in software development as a UX designer, and one thing a lot of people on the outside don't realize is that, yes, it's very expensive to develop software. People who make software are very well paid, but it's also very expensive just to maintain that software, to maintain your apps, especially on iOS and Android. If there's an update to that OS and you're not ready for it, it could just kill your app. It can introduce bugs that will crash your app. Also, I don't necessarily have a problem with subscriptions, although the way this one was announced and implemented is kind of a confusing mess. More on that in a second. I was really surprised by the amount of vitriol that I saw online around this announcement. Clip already has a subscription. I pay $54 a year to use it on any platform I like. Now, I know I am a special case because I'm using it a lot on Android. I'm using it a lot on iOS. I don't use it on the desktop quite so much, where a lot of people have bought that perpetual license one time. And most importantly here, I will continue to recommend Clip Studio Paint to people on this channel because it's freaking good software. Okay, so hot take number two, this announcement was just crazy confusing and kind of a mess. Version 2.0 of their software should be a big deal. It should be exciting news. We should be talking about the great and cool stuff that they're working on. Maybe there's like some kind of AI implementation that can scan your style and like create a background in your style for you. Or maybe it can detect what your perspective is and create a perspective grid for you. Who knows? I'm just making up features. My point is that they've been working on something. Tell us about what you've been working on. Tell us what we should be excited about. Tell us why we should be looking forward to upgrading to version 2.0. What's really crazy to me about this blog post is they didn't mention any of the features. They announced version 2.0. They announced version 3.0 sometime in the future. Also, mentioning version 3 is just a bad idea. The cart before the horse right there. And it made customers wonder, okay, is version 3 2 years out? Is it 10 years out? Why bring it up? Whenever you're talking about price, the first thing consumers are going to think about is what kind of value am I going to get for what I'm paying for? And since we don't know the features that are even going to be in 2.0 yet, we don't know if it's worth upgrading, let alone what features are going to be available in 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, those updates that you need the subscription to get. And then mentioning 3.0, of course, just adds more confusion to that. I, like most of you out there, I'm really tired of subscription services. Whenever I see that, even if it's only like $5 a month or $10 a month or $50 a year, whatever it is, I end up thinking, oh, that's one more thing I'm going to have to pay for forever. Well, I was thinking through this. I was thinking, are there any subscription services I actually like? And there are. For example, Disney Plus is a great example. I got the free service when it first came out. I wanted to watch The Mandalorian, and it's been this drip, drip, drip of new content. And also, they're constantly teasing new content. You get all the Marvel shows, and you get the Pixar stuff, and after a reasonable amount of time, anything that's in the theater comes to the service. And whenever they announce a new Star Wars show, I'm like, take my money. If you're running a subscription service, that's the response you want. You want the take my money response. Hot take number 3, I think a lot of people saw the subscription thing and they immediately said, oh, this is just greed. And I totally understand where that's coming from. That was not the perspective I had when I saw it. Now, my first thought reading this was, crap, are they solvent? Can they stay in business? Celsys is not Adobe. This is not a publicly traded multi-million-dollar corporation that needs to make their stockholders happy. Not saying that they don't want to make more money and that's why they're doing this. It's entirely possible. But like I said before, I used to work in software, and usually whenever we had conversations about our business model, it was more along the lines of, oh crap, how are we going to keep this maintained? Or all our money that we're making is going into maintenance. How do we make new features and get better? I have no idea how much money is coming into Celsys. I have no idea what their business actually looks like. But when I see a smaller software company, trying to figure out how to make money off their product, 9 times out of 10, that's where my head goes, is this product going to be around 5 years from now? Can they stay in business? Can they make enough money to do that? And so I hope they can. A subscription model is very tempting to those kind of software businesses, because then on a monthly basis you have so much money coming in, and that allows you to pay your employees and you don't have to lay people off and that sort of thing. Hot take number 4, Clip Studio Paint is already a fully featured program. That is the coldest hot take I got. I was thinking about this and I really don't care about the new features. I can't really name a single feature in Clip Studio that I use today that wasn't part of the app, say 5 years ago. Vector brushes, all those cool settings and micro settings for each tool, the reference layers, those have all been in there for a very long time. And when I stop and think about it, like, what new settings has Clip Studio added in recent years that I use? I'm kind of at a loss here. I do have a subscription, so I am going to get those updates already. However, I also know that version 1 of the software that I bought many, many years ago is going to get security updates for several years to come. And it does everything I need it to do. I don't need to make this decision right now. If it does get to the point at some time in the future where I do need to upgrade because I'm not getting those security updates and it's not running on my operating system, well, that's fine. I will pay $50 every 5 years to get a new version of the software. I think it's worth it to me. And I think for me, when I'm thinking about the subscription thing, obviously for me, the value of that is being able to use it on any platform. But I don't really care about the new features. Unless there's something really killer that they're working on that we don't know about, I don't think I'm ever going to really use those new things. And if there are some killer features that they're working on, it will be worth a subscription price. Again, it goes back to that Disney thing. If there's something really great that cuts the drawing time in half, yes, I'll pay a subscription price for that. So if I was going to summarize this entire video, that announcement was kind of a mess, and they brought a lot of this negativity onto themselves. But once you take a deep breath, I don't think it's that big a deal. You can still get your perpetual license. You still have to shell out $50 every, 5 years, 10 years, who knows how long. That's $10 a year. And in return, you get software that is really, really good. That makes sense to me. And if you're not happy with it, there's other stuff out there. This market gets more competitive every year. But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.